Okay, so this is part 3 of the Inkle weaving tutorial, and what I just want to talk about now is within the first few inches of your weaving, some of the issues that you might be facing if it's your first band ever. It's probable, although some people are really good at this right off the bat, like they just have a natural a feel for tension and stuff, but typically some of the things that you're going to face are you're going to find your border kind of wobbles quite a bit, especially in your first, I would say your first 6 inches, you know, forgive yourself. You're going to start to figure out what works for you. Not everybody's method is exactly the same. I've developed over time a certain routine when I'm weaving. And it might not work for you. You might find that you dislike this ruler. You might find it's easier to use just the straight edge of this as your beater, although that will wear down quickly. But, you know, you might find this extra step annoying where I find it helpful. Yeah, and forgive yourself your borders. You're going to figure out within a few inches what your tension, you know, how wide your band is going to be depending on what fiber you've used. And you'll start to, like, as you get into a rhythm, you'll start to realize that your borders will start sorting themselves out, and you'll get a real feel for how strongly to tug at the end of each row. One other thing that you might face, which I can't really show you here, but sometimes there's a small discrepancy in tension in one or two of your vertical threads. And you might find this happen to you where you can see these threads here. If I turn this sideways, you might find that one or two of these threads kind of bubbles out as you're beating. You'll get like lots of bubbles and things down here, and that'll happen this way. That's because your tension was a little bit looser in areas than others, but within the first 6 inches or so, or even less than that, typically it starts to even itself out. Considerably, so you know you might have to discard a little bit of your weaving at the end, but I've found that most people that I've taught, they figure it out within the first 6 inches or so, at least to a point where they're fairly happy with how the edges of the band look. And what I'm going to do just to finish this section off is I'm just going to keep weaving for a little bit so you get an idea of my rhythm. Beat, open, thread, tug, change, beat, thread, tug, change, beat, thread, tug. Now, if you find that you've missed a few threads, like you go to put this through and you discovered that, see here, I've dropped one of these blue threads is dropped. If you've already put your thread through, then what you're going to get is it's going to show there, it's going to jump up over, it's called a skip. So if you've lost it already, what you need to do is change back to the shed that row was on. You can see these 2 threads were supposed to be up, but this skips over them. So I'm going to take your ruler or your finger and push those back down. I find this ruler handy again for this. And then just take your shuttle and move it, unweave I call it, pull it back through. Now let go, open your shed properly, catch those 2 threads and reweave it. Okay, so that's one correct. Let's see what else. Well, I think that's pretty much, well, skipping is pretty much the thing, and there are things that can cause that. Sometimes one of your heddles is a lot shorter or a lot longer than all of its buddies, so you might have to really push down and make sure that you get your ruler in underneath that really low one. Or if it's too tall, you'll find a problem when you're on your shed 1 with your open threads up, where that one heddled one is so long that you have to make sure you don't catch it with your ruler. So that's typically what happens. All right, so then we're just going to keep weaving, and I'll come back in part 4 to show you how to put in another weft if you run out of weft thread, and how to finish off your band.